All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live in 2023.
It's alive.
It's alive. This is why we don't go out much, Larry.
Yeah, right. Let's see.
So here we are. It is Charlie from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. It is Matt from Meet the Pressers, and we have a very special guest tonight. It is Larry Correia. Now, I got to tell you, at first I thought you might have been a relative of John Correia's, but that does not seem to be the case.
No, actually, I know John, and we're friends. We've known each other on the internet for a long time, but as far as we know, we're not related.
All right. Well, I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait a second. He runs a channel and he writes books? No. I'm wrong. It's the wrong guy.
If anybody asks, we both just say we're cousins.
There we go. That clears it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a Charlie and Matt exclusive. John and Larry Correia are both related. They're cousins.
Yeah, there you go.
Distant cousins.
Distant cousins.
Not kissing cousin, distant cousins. There's a difference.
There's a big difference. Well, we have Larry on tonight because Larry is an author and he writes a lot of fiction books, but he's got a nonfiction book out, and the book is called In Defense of the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk with Larry for an hour about this. I know we don't have this up and going, but one of the things that we do here, Larry, is we have some sponsors, and one of our sponsors is Next Level Training. And if you go to meetthepressers.com/giveaway, enter the code.
We didn't do it. We didn't come up with it. We jumped on, we got talking, we caught up, and then we're like, yeah, that's right. We got to do it.
Highly trained professionals. We're doing it now. I think the code was let's just make it Larry.
I like it.
Because in defense of the Second Amendment, it's kind of a long code.
Yeah, that's a long. That's a mouthful. Okay, yeah, code Larry. Yeah,
code Larry. It's a code Larry.
That sounds like a thriller novel right there.
I know, right? It's your next book. So, right? Comedy of errors.
There, I got it.
There, bam, there it is. So we have a Next Level Training Cert Pistol 110 red laser training.
You spelled my name wrong.
Oh, jeez.
You know, when I was texting it came up as Larey. I'm like, no, that's not right. So I had to go back and fix it.
Oh, yeah. Not a common name, but it's okay.
This is true. All right, so we've got Larry Correia. And he's here to talk about his book In Defense of the Second Amendment. Now, a lot of the fiction that you write is a lot of it's gun based, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, that was my background before I got into writing novels. In fact, I owned a gun store when I wrote my very first novel, and I self-published my very first book. I'm with a publishing house, Bay and Books now, but I self-published my very first one, and I primarily sold it on internet gun forums back in the olden days, the Firing Line and the High Road. If you guys remember way back in ancient times of gun internet. And it was I'm probably the gun nuttiest fiction writer, I would say. Guns and gun culture, inside jokes, and just that kind of stuff in general, all in there. Plus, with my fan base, I can't get anything wrong. I've got to do meticulous research. So all my gun stuff has to be accurate. My fans would kill me. I was the #1 best-selling author in Baghdad and Bagram for quite a while. So I that's my fan base. I can't screw it up. And if I do screw something up, something technical, oh my gosh, I never hear the end of it. So yeah, I'm about as I don't do the stupid gun errors like you see. I don't have guys dramatically cocking the hammers on their Glocks.
Rack the slide and let's get him, and then he rack the slide again.
Yeah, dramatic shotgun pump to show I mean business.
Right.
Those really are the best. You're like, oh my God, there's nothing. And then as gun guys and instructors, we sit here and think, why don't they hire me to fix these guys in movies, right?
Oh gosh, movies drive me nuts. Mm-hmm. If any of my stuff, I mean, I've optioned a couple of properties. Monster Hunter International is optioned for movies or TV show, and the Hard Magic is optioned for a TV show. And they're going to screw the gun stuff up, and I know it's going to drive me nuts, and all my fans are going to yell at me, and it's not my fault.
So we had Michael Bain on a couple months ago.
Great guy.
he was telling us about, he wrote some books with, he wrote a book with Hank Williams Jr. And he said, Hank Williams came to him and said, hey, listen, I've had 3 ex-wives. They only want to put in 2 in the movie. What do we do about this? And Michael said to him, did the check clear? He's like, there you go. Yes, the check did. All right, let them do what they want to do.
just combine a couple wives. That's what they do.
Exactly.
You say you have one with 3 personalities or something, right?
It's Hollywood. They'll make it work.
They'll make it fit. Absolutely.
Fix it in post.
Right.
So I definitely have to commend you, Larry, because writing a book, that's probably been one of the things that I desire to do at some point in my career, but I'm just so worried about putting it in print and then having somebody come back and be like, that's wrong, like we don't do the teacup anymore. I'm like, well, I wrote the book in the 40s, so I mean, it'd be a little bit better in that case, but my luck, I'd say something and be like, well, I don't do it that way, because you know how it is in the internet. You got one instructor that says clip, another one says that's not a clip, it's a magazine, like usually is me, but so I commend you, because it takes a lot to be able to put that down and like you alluded to, not have the naysayers all over you and jumping on it.
Yeah, and I'm that same guy that's always calling out the stuff that's wrong in books and movies, and so when I do it, it's karma. It's karmic payback for my screw ups. And that's okay. I screw up. I mean, I get the gun stuff right, but I get horse people will come and yell at me. Like if I write a fantasy novel and I get the horses wrong, horse people are the only people worse than gun people.
Really?
Okay. Great.
Oh, they have no tolerance for mistakes.
Wow.
Nay.
Oh.
Bad joke, dad joke?
Yeah.
So here's a fun fact for you. Did some research, and Lamont the Arthur. You familiar with that book?
Yeah.
King Arthur and the Knights of the
Round
Round
Table?
Table? Yeah, okay. So, see, he's correcting me. That's fine. It's okay.
I'm an editor. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. But that actually was Thomas Mallory, and that was a English relative of mine that wrote that. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually awesome. That's a big deal right there. That is a big deal story that's been very influential for centuries.
I guess I have it in my blood, so.
Oh, there you go. Give it a shot.
Inevitable at some point.
There you go. Yeah, but you have no typing skills.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
I thought you were going to say I have no, reading skills, spelling skills. Yeah, I don't know how to.
Right. I wish I liked reading books as much as I like buying books.
Hey, I wrote my first book on the side in between owning a gun store and teaching CCW classes. And at night I would just crank away on my silly little monster story. And that thing sold millions of copies since. So you never know, man. Just give it a shot.
That's awesome.
That's kind of how I did it with articles. I just started writing an article. It took me, I think 2 years. I was working on the very first article I wrote was for ESS. It was a review about ESS sunglasses and, protective glasses, eye pro. And then I eventually wrote an article about George Zimmerman after interviewing him. That's the first article that was published. And then shortly after that, I published the first one I ever wrote with Pincus's outfit. So neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, Lamont.
All right. So let's talk about the book here. What I really like about the book is that it is you've really gone through all of the anti-gun folks, and I love that you call them vultures. By the way, I think that is absolutely great. But you go through all of the things that the vultures try to throw at us, and you combat every single one of these and knock every one of them down and talk about how they're all bogus.
Yeah, I one of the goals was I wanted to have kind of an exhaustive compendium of everything they throw at us. Because basically I got 2 audiences in mind. I wanted to help people that are already on our side. There's a lot of people who believe in the Second Amendment and they love being able to defend themselves. They love the culture. They love guns, but they can't articulate an argument. They can't worth a darn. And so I'm trying to help those guys and also arm them with facts, get them all the facts in one place. And then the other thing was the fence sitters, the people who are, they've been lied to by the news. They believe the traditional narratives, but they're still kind of thinking about it, or maybe they get like that little wake up call when they watch their cities on fire and calling 911 doesn't do anything. These people have like a wake up, and so I want to just have a resource for them and be like, look, this is how this works. This is what you've been told your whole life by the news and by Hollywood, and this is how it actually works. And I came at it. I'm not an academic. I'm not a statistician. I'm not a policy wonk. I'm just a dude. I'm a writer who likes guns. But the advantage of being a writer is I'm really good at conveying information and telling stories. And so I try to hit it just super logically, but also emotionally too, because the truth is on our side. You know, the other side has just emotion, but it's like really dumb, shallow emotion. Like we want to do this and this and this, even though that's going to make everything worse. And if you think about it, it's like obviously going to make everything worse and stupid and bad. And you can look at everywhere in the world they've got their way and how bad it is. So what I'm going for here is just I want to arm people with truth and knowledge and go for it. And it seems to be working really well. It's been really well received. And the reviews are hilarious. Can you talk about like the exhaustive list of stuff? You can see I'm getting all these 1-star reviews from people who clearly didn't read the book. Like I was just reading one a minute ago. I was like, oh, this is so stupid. No one's trying to take guns away. This is just some gun nut fantasy for a guy who shoves a pistol and he sleeps with a pistol in his boxers. And I'm like, okay, now I carry in a Filster floodlight. All right. I'm not a heathen. All right. I'm classy. Okay.
Oh goodness.
Sorry. Late night. I've done like 20 interviews. I'm loopy.
That's okay. We don't have an excuse like that.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I think sometimes, I was talking with in my class last night that I had. Well, I should say yesterday. It was a two-day 18-hour class, and one of the students in the class is an engineer, and he's got his doctorate. And he basically said, he goes, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm like, talk, man, it's fine. That's what we got to talk. We got to have communication. And he said, he goes, sometimes I find that the people that can't have a good conversational, they're low IQ. They start swearing and stuff like that. And I said, well, you ever go to New York City, every other word out of their mouth is a swear word. But yes, I agree with you to some extent where you let emotion get the best of you and you just start blurting out stuff. You don't have a rational conversation. You don't try to see the other person's side of it. And I think that's what we see a lot from the left side. It's that liberalism is a mental disorder kind of thing.
Yeah. I actually divide the anti-gun side into two halves. And it's not even really halves. There's one giant portion that are basically people who mean well, but they get suckered. All right, they're the Stalin called them useful idiots, the people that you can sway with bad information, appeals to emotion, but they don't mean to cause. I mean, they're not trying to get more people killed. They're not trying to cause more mass shootings. They're not trying to get people murdered in the streets. They actually think that, if we ban all this stuff and disarm all the law abiding and we make all the guns away, then there won't be any more crime and everybody will be happy. They're suckers. Those people are still reachable, depending on the life experiences they have and what happens to them to wake them up. Those people you can still reach. Right. On the other hand, though, then there's the vultures. And why vultures is because the lawyers at Regnery wouldn't let me call them what I wanted to call them. So
the editor wouldn't let you use the editor wouldn't let you use a-hole every time.
Oh yeah, that would have got repetitious after a couple hundred pages. But vultures, because they're perched, they're perched and they're watching and they're waiting for carnage. And when there's death and destruction, man, they swoop right in there to take advantage of the situation every time. Now those guys, and these are usually their professional pundit class, media, politicians. They know what they're saying is crap. They know what they're saying is going to harm people. They know that it's going to get people killed, and they're happy. These are the people that, like, when there's a mass killing on the news, and it comes out that, like, as soon as it happens, they jump in with all their, I bet it was this group or this group or this group, and this shows why we need gun control. I bet he used an AR-15, and AR-15s are so super deadly. Then it comes out, it's like, some old guy from a demographic they don't want to make angry who used a pump shotgun. And the next thing you know, they're that story just disappears. And you can actually see the sadness in their eyes. They're disappointed. Or when a armed citizen just blasts the bad guy in the first 15 seconds and it doesn't turn into a big mass casualty event because the guy got shot, they're sad. And I talked about this in the book because I talked about the Eli Dicken case out of Indiana, because that kid's amazing. That kid's a hero. That's where the bad guy walked into the mall, started shooting, and 15 seconds later, Eli Dicken engaged him at 43 yards. Yep. and then shot him a bunch of times and approached and finished him off. And that's amazing shooting. Kid's amazing. But Shannon Watts, Moms Demand Action, she was upset. She was angry. And they started having this thing where, well, who's the real bad guy? They both had guns at the mall. Right. And it's like, well, there's a bit of a difference.
It's no different with the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, right?
Yep.
I mean, you get hit with a skateboard. Oh, well, he shouldn't have shot him with a skateboard. I'm like, let me hit you with a skateboard. I guarantee if I hit you hard enough, I could decapitate you. Nice, good long swing, right in the right spot in the neck. Pop goes the weasel. But on top of that, a pedophile. Right? I mean, he shoots a pedophile. Now, granted, we don't want to go around just murdering people without due process, but come on now, it's a pedophile, and they raise this person up. It's like if this isn't the epitome of good calling, calling good bad and bad calling, being called good.
Absolutely,
it's insanity. It's insanity.
That's why we were all glued to that Rittenhouse case. I don't know about you guys, but I watched a lot of it. I watched it on Rakita Law. I was glued to that case, and when they when they read the verdict at the end, I got emotional. Because I think what it was is not only did this kid defend himself and defend his community, by the malicious and stupid prosecution against him, he kind of became like a stand-in for everybody in America who has a gun for self-defense. Because we're all one stupid prosecutor, one malicious, dumb prosecutor, and a howling mob away from getting hounded to death. And like on the skateboard thing, I just saw a comment, but on the skateboard thing, when I was arguing with people, I actually bookmarked several cases where skateboards were used as murder weapons. Right. And so they're like, it was only a skateboard. And I'm like, here's this case and this case and this case and this.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually it's a club, and it's a common weapon, and it's a club with big metal things on it. It's going to kill you.
It's a bludgeon. It's the Lucille, the baseball bat from The Walking Dead, in a different form.
Yeah, the people we argue with on this, and this is one thing I try to get in the book. We're arguing with people who are so detached from reality. Right. That's why I put a chapter in there about use of force laws. The stuff that guys like us, trainers, anybody who carries a gun, we all know this stuff. The old ability, opportunity, immediate threat. Right. Yeah. I go into that, and I have a chapter on that because what I found is over the years, people see a case, whether it's an armed citizen, a cop, whatever, there's a shooting, and the news comes out with their version of events, and it's the dumbest thing you've ever heard. It's the dumbest take imaginable, and everybody gets all emotional about it and freaking out. And then my thing is, I don't usually even comment on the cases because I haven't seen the evidence. I'll just be like, okay, this is how use of force works. So if it's this, and this, it's this and this, according to the reasonable people of the jury. I put that out there, and people get mad at me. Like, how dare you not be emotional and butthurt? And then the jury comes back and agrees with me, and they're all outraged. And I'm like, I told you so. I mean,
right.
You should know how this stuff works.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think too many people look at the black and white of the law, the black letter of the law, and they don't realize that there's case law, and then there's emotions, and then there's, or the emotions need to be taken out of it. They need to look straight at the case law and dictate that. And in the classes, when I tell people, I make a statement, and it comes from Masad Ayub, and I basically say, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you how it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. That guy's a national treasure. Okay.
Yes.
Mag 40, he's amazing. I've looked up to him for a long time, and he's right. He's absolutely right, because there's our feelings about things, and then there's the reality of things. I get yelled at sometimes by people on the gun community on our side, because I'm not idealistic enough. And they're like, well, we should have the ability to do this and this. I was like, I agree. Get me 20 more pro-gun senators, and we can do that. Right. In the meantime, this is what we got to do, and this is how we got to go to court. And that's why I have so much respect for SAF, FPC, GOA recently. They've all been filing endless lawsuits and making great gains.
Yeah, and that's why people need to join them and become like life members and such.
Yes.
Look at you. Mine's over on the wall.
Keep mine right there.
Real quick, somebody asked about getting a signed copy of the book. How can someone get a signed copy of the book?
Actually, because they just had me doing a radio and podcast tour, I haven't been anywhere to sign them, and so the only signed copies in America are at my local gun store.
So we got to go to Utah to get one.
Yeah, Red Dot Firearms in Layton. There you go. There's a shout out to my. If you're driving through Layton, Utah, stop. There you go. They got a couple cases of signed books. No, I just haven't had a chance, and logistically, it's impossible for people to send me books and me sign them and send them back. I've tried that before with novels, and it's a logistical nightmare. And I live in the mountains in the middle of nowhere with a little tiny post office. They would hate me.
They would hate, yeah, absolutely. I sent my kids. They're one of my favorite podcasters. My kids got one of his books for Christmas. For me a couple years ago, and I sent it to him last February with return postage and the whole deal. And I said, "Here's, I told him it was going to be coming. I made sure it was going to be okay for me to do. I sent it to him. This was in February of last year. In June of last year, I'm like, hey, any word on this? They're like, yeah, we got some books. We're going to get to it. In December last month, I'm like, any news on this? Anything? And they're like, yeah, we'll get back to you. So the lady looked around. His assistant looked around. She couldn't find the book anywhere, so she's like, "We're just going to send you another one."
Yeah,
right.
Authors are the worst people to mail stuff to. You just don't do that. It's not going to work. We're going to lose it. It ain't going to get here. Yeah, I quit doing it because it was a logistical nightmare. But yeah, no, but that said, I do every year travel around America for book tour for my fictional books. I am super happy to sign gun books. So if you catch me out signing a fantasy novel, come and say hi. I'm happy to sign your in defense of the Second Amendment. I'll sign everything. I've signed guns. I've signed Kindles with my knife. I've signed a cannon.
Wow, a cannon.
Somebody brought that to a book signing?
Yeah,
Nick, you signed Nick
actually
Cannon?
They did. Yeah, there was actually a Civil War cannon. They actually did bring it to the book signing. I've signed everything you can imagine. In fact, one time I was signing in upstate New York, in this little bookstore in upstate New York. I was doing a signing, and a guy walks in the front door with a Tommy gun. Nice. He has a Tommy gun. He walks in the front door, and I'm in the back signing, and I have a big crowd. And credit to this little bookstore, the lady at the front looks at this guy, walks in the Tommy gun, and goes, "Oh, you must be here for Larry Correia. They're over there."
Right.
And that was not me, Charlie. That was
nothing says a Larry Correia book signing like a Tommy gun, right?
I don't have that signed by Larry yet.
I've signed a lot of guns, gun parts, a lot of Magpul stocks. I've signed so many PMags, I know exactly where to go.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Got it down. Nice.
Very cool.
So have either of you guys heard about the New Zealand? So David Moultrup, he does a lot of social media for us. He was at SHOT Show. He was part of my entourage. This just sounds cool. So and he's been commenting. He's always a good supporter. He sent me over the New Zealand crime rate and statistics report. Have you guys heard that? Seen what came out with that?
No, not yet.
So from 1990 to 2019, they basically came out and said that they're up 254% with homicides and murders in New Zealand after banning assault rifles, assault weapons, assault, whatever the hell they want to call them. Which I hate.
Not shocked.
Right. Yeah. And the same time frame, the United States went up 3.5%. I mean, you just let that sit in. It's just like in New York here. We just had somebody at an Applebee's. It's a felony. The guy's in an Applebee's with his gun on him. And then some guy that got booted out came back with a knife, or came in because he was pissed, grabbed a knife from behind the counter, slashed one or two of the employees. And he pulled his gun out, mind you, just basically admitting that he's got a gun. And now it's a felony because Class D felony in New York State if you're in an establishment that serves alcohol. And stop the bad guy. I haven't heard if he's going to be charged yet, but I wouldn't doubt it because in Oneida County, where it happened, over in New Hartford, New York, that DA over there is very aggressive.
That's just so unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not shocked by the New Zealand numbers. No. Yeah, I mean, I get into that in the book because they always like to do the apples and oranges comparison, where they always want to compare giant, complex America with its 400 different cultures crammed into a giant, diverse area. And they want to compare us to like Denmark. It's like got the population of LA, know, and they want to compare the two like we're the same thing. Nah. No, we're not. And it's really interesting too. Also, another thing I found too on these crime stats, going to the other countries' crime stats, they lie their butts off. Oh my gosh, I was amazed how much other countries lie their butts off. Because America, we're the people that compile our crime stats hate America, so they're cool putting as much as possible. I mean, it's like. Yeah. But some of these, it's like, so I'm supposed to believe China, the giant communist nation of China, it has almost no murders. It's amazing. It's like no one gets murdered in China at all. It's astounding. So when I see these people go like, America's so dangerous, we're number blah 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 out of. I mean, come on. I looked at that. It's got Sierra Leone is safer than America according to these.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
pretty sure that is not the case. Per capita.
Hey, Larry, say that again. As far as China's got no, say that like you did about China not having any murders, any crime.
Yeah, just according to the crime stats that I used to compile the book, China, the giant nation of China, has almost no murders, and that the crime rate is like supposed to be.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I was slow on it. I had to have you do it again.
Oh man, it's like the is that like the running thing? Because like when those guys lie continuously,
Yeah.
they get nice.
Right.
But
Charlie
the
found
Americans
that.
believe this crap. They believe it.
Right. Well, I think what it is, I think that they believe it, but it's kind of behind it. Just like the papers that they found for Biden. Like how many people are Trump, he needs to be impeached. He needs to be hung by his toenails. And then they find it with Biden. Oh, but it's not the same. It's
Right.
totally different now.
You're right. It's not the same because he had those as a senator and vice president,
right?
Which was years ago. He had them way longer than Trump had.
And had no right to be able to declassify them. And they
come on, man.
Right?
He kept the garage locked. That's where his Corvette is.
I want to do a meme. I want to do a meme of like acceptable by the president to keep your gun, keep your sensitive, secure documents in a car in a garage, but your gun, absolutely not.
I'm a former military contractor. I was a military contract accountant, right? I would be in prison forever.
Right.
There's like no doubt.
Right.
Anybody I worked with a clearance, if you took this stuff home and stored it in a box in your garage for 14 years, you're going to prison.
But if you kept it in your car in the garage, you're fine.
Oh yeah, what's a Corvette? It's pretty cool,
Look, it's a convertible with the top down. Come on.
Here we go.
Doors are locked though.
My son loves Corvettes, and like he really wants to restore an old Corvette. And I was like, dude, that's Joe Biden's car. He's like, I know, he's ruining it for us. So amongst the hardcore Corvette lover community, this is like the worst thing ever from them. It's so embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I don't know if you put this up or not, Charlie, but David wanted to remind me that he also sent me saying it went from the 36th to the 16th most dangerous in the world.
Hey, look at that, man. They are moving up.
Yeah, good for them.
Like Jefferson and Wheezy.
Maybe they'll build some more concentration camps, call it good.
Right.
Yeah, but I guess to my point, I don't know if I finished it. I kind of went on a squirrel trail there, but I think sometimes they don't want to believe it, and then they just keep believing the lie. It's like you tell yourself a lie long enough. And there's tons of statistics out there like that. It says you can keep lying to yourself, and eventually the lie becomes the truth in your head, and maybe to others if you keep doing it.
Right. It's the Seinfeld thing. It's not a lie if you believe it.
Right. Wasn't that what they did during the World War? Didn't they do that during the World War, the propaganda and everything? And until we actually some politician or something went over there to Germany and stuff and actually seen the concentration camps. Like, no, they're not doing that. Concentration camps, they're not rounding up Jews. And then next thing you know, they're like, no, they are, because we had to have somebody go over and actually see it and come back and vouch for it. And somebody that actually we believed.
Crazy, man. Yeah. Crazy.
Scary.
So one of the things I want to bring up is I was gun agnostic my whole life. I wanted to be a musician, and that's the path that I took. Played in a band, played in a Motown disco funk band, and I ended up being a teacher for a long time. And on like many people, on September 11th, my life changed, and I had we had a moment where our principal called us in, and he said, if anyone comes to the school that's not supposed to be here, that was code for a school shooter or mass shooter, because I didn't really have them back then and call them that. He said, if anyone comes in the school that's not supposed to be here, he was going to get on the intercom. He was going to say the eagle has landed. We're supposed to lock our doors and hide under our desks. And so we're having lunch one day, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in a different building, and I'm the music teacher. I don't have desks, so we have nowhere to hide. So this is baloney.
Tuba.
Yeah, right. Get all the kids inside, right? So I ended up sitting in the teacher's room, not being a gun guy, not really knowing where I leaned politically. And I said, if the teachers all had guns on the first floor of the building, they could shoot the bad guys. They could call the police, tell them to bring body bags, and the teachers on the second floor can keep on teaching. And they all looked at me. Yeah, they all looked at me like I was the crazy one. And when we had our next vacation, I said, I'm going to go get a gun license and show you guys what this is about. And that was how my path to becoming a gun guy, which led to being a firearm instructor and led to everything else. That's how it started for me. And I've done a Faster Saves Lives course a couple years ago. I'm all for, if the teachers want to carry, let them. Yep. Because they're we already have teachers that are willing to stand up to stop bad guys with knives and with guns and get in the way of evil to stop and protect their kids. Why shouldn't we let the teachers be armed?
Absolutely. Utah is where I was a CCW instructor, and we have armed teachers. And I talk about this a lot in the book, and I'm a big advocate of letting teachers be armed. And honestly, what it is I'm my town funk. It's a no-brainer, because we know the bad guys attack gun-free zones. And right. So if you make a school a gun-free zone, it's just a primo target. They're going to target it. We know they're going to. They say so in their manifestos. Mm-hmm. Let teachers carry. If they got a concealed weapons permit somewhere else, they carry a gun everywhere else in their life, just let them carry at work too. And I always got to specify, because there's always going to be one person who's going to misconstrue this on purpose and be like, you're going to arm all the teachers. I want to be a teacher. I don't want to carry a gun. Okay, that's fine. Just make it voluntary. Every school's got a couple people that are capable and smart and dedicated. You were the guy at that school, but every school has somebody. There's teachers who are already like hardcore experienced types. Why wouldn't I want them armed?
For sure.
And it's interesting too, because people freak out about this, like, oh, the teacher's going to be shooting their kids and they're going to be, freaking out. No, we've had this like in Utah for like almost 2 decades now, right. and none of that crap is happening.
Yeah, I'm sorry, keep going.
No, it's just usual hyperbolic nonsense.
It completely is. I remember I'm digging up some treasures here, so I apologize for looking distracted. Letting teachers carry. I don't want anyone. My deal is this. I love the meme that goes around that says, I carry a gun not to inflict my will on others. I carry it so others can't inflict their will on me. And I don't want anyone to carry a gun that doesn't want to carry a gun. Right. And when people say, just like you were talking about, oh, the teachers, what if they can't get the kids to come in from recess and they shoot the kids? What if they forget their homework and they shoot the kids? I look at these people, I say, dude, you do not understand what firearms are for.
Well, and also, if somebody is that much of a freaking psychopath,
right? Exactly.
Why are you retaining them as a teacher anyway? That this is even a possibility. They need to be fired for like everyone's safety anyway, and then escorted from the premises, and then put up a fence around the place to keep them out.
Yeah,
that's just nuts.
For sure. Put a shock collar on their neck in case they come within 100 yards of the school. Right. I was at a law enforcement trade show. This is probably 4 or 5 years ago, because you always forget COVID takes up 2 years of our past life. But and I had a bunch of, and they were airsoft guns. They weren't even real guns. They were airsoft guns. I could have had real guns there, but it's just easier to bring airsoft. So I had a bunch of airsoft replicas. And this one lady walks by and she looks at the table and she gasps, "Did you hear they're going to try to arm the teachers?" And I was like, "Yeah, and they should." And she goes, "Well, when that happens, I'm going to quit." And I said to her, I go, "Well, you guys have fire extinguishers there, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "You know how to use it?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Are you expected to be a fireman?" She goes, "No." I said, "Well, a fire extinguisher is just like a gun. They're both tools that can save lives if you know how to use it." And like, then the smoke started coming out of her ear. And then
right.
But it's like, I don't get it. And Larry, I want to get your take on this, because this drives me nuts, and I've been trying to rationalize it. Are they insane, or are they truly ignorant and stupid that they don't realize that a gun in a good person's hand can stop a gun in a bad person's hand? And if you remove guns from society, New Zealand, for example, it's not going to fix it.
Let's see. Are they dumb or insane? You know that little meme of that little girl that says, "Why not both?" Well, it depends. Some of them are. Some of them are like emotionally stunted, and if you talk about even the idea of using a weapon to defend yourself, they just freak out. To them, that's just only the state can do it. But then again, when they think only the cops can do it, but these are the same people who get mad at the cops. Well, why didn't you just shoot him in the leg?
Yes.
Why do you always have to shoot to kill? Just shoot the knife out of their hand.
Right.
It's like, lady, people used to pay me to shoot pistols. I can't do that. Okay. And I'm way better than 99.9% of law enforcement with a handgun under stress. There's a reason we aim for the big part. No. So some of these people are emotionally stunted, and just, it's goofy. And then there's some that are just pathological liars. They'll just lie their butts off. And
Congress.
Well, I noticed that in the aftermath of the California shooting this week, Adam Schiff was on Twitter within like 3 minutes talking about how this was probably the work of MAGA Republicans, because if you look at it, this is clearly anti-Asian and Pacific Islander bigotry. And this just shows why we need AR-15s off the street. Jeez. Which is funny because literally everything that guy tweeted was wrong. Yeah. I mean, there was like nothing. But what do you expect? The guy's a pathological liar.
Right. I saw a meme earlier that said the video footage of Adam Schiff after he was fired, and it's a kid laying on the floor having a temper tantrum.
Before we move on, I'm going to pull something up. I can't believe I'm pulling this up. Somebody asked for pictures of a video of me playing in a Motown band. I've got some pictures here. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. Oh my gosh, how can I
move us off to the side?
Yeah, I don't know how to move us off to the side.
Do that one?
No, this one?
I think we're both clicking buttons. No, click that one. No, that's the wrong one. Click the other one.
This one? No.
Now we're talking heads.
Now we're talking heads.
If we all get disconnected, we'll call back.
We'll call back, right. Let's try this. There we go.
There you go.
That's what we're looking for. That is me playing the trombone. So go ahead. Thanks, Matt.
I was late again, but still, it was funny.
That was all right. That is me playing. I was playing in a band in 1992 in Memphis, Tennessee. The guitar player behind me is now Jason Aldean's lead guitar player.
Wow, that's awesome.
This is me in a newspaper in Boston with one of the radio guys. We were, oh my gosh, I think it was 98.
Which one are you? The Trump-looking guy in the middle?
Yeah, I'm the Trump-looking guy in the middle. That's right. The DJ took my trombone, so I had one of those little woo things. And then here's a picture that we had. Look at that big hair, man. Huh?
Wow,
nice,
dude. That's
nice hair, huh?
Right. That's like Patrick Swayze hair.
That's awesome.
This was like 97, 98, somewhere around there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I was already going bald. I couldn't participate.
You couldn't play in the band. You didn't have enough hair.
Yeah, mid-90s, it was already going. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Glamour shots.
Glamour shots, exactly. So the Blues Brothers. So the very first picture I showed you guys, I was playing in a band called the Blues Other Brothers, and we traveled around the country with two guys from Iowa, and God bless them, man. God bless them. Those were the days.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's awesome. I don't want to bring up any pictures. I posted for our anniversary. I posted a picture of my wife and I, and I think we had our two oldest kids with us in the picture. And my wife was like, "We look like freaking Charles Manson family, psycho killers. How'd you post that?" I'm like, "Thought it was nice."
Thanks, honey.
like 31 years. I'm like, "No, you're acting like a psycho right now. That wasn't." I didn't say that. I thought that. I didn't say it though.
It's good that she doesn't watch the show, man. I got to tell you. Anyway, so I didn't. Sorry to interrupt that for.
That was good.
For some glorious pictures there.
Definitely.
So we're talking about how the crazy folks.
Yeah. What any thoughts on And I mean, obviously, writing the book and inciting them so their heads explode is one way to beat the other side. Any other ways you can think of, or other things you've done, Larry, or even you, Charlie, to try to to battle that back? Because honestly, if we're looking at the boxes of liberty, we're getting closer to that ammo box. And I'm never condoning right now or talking about a civil war, but at some point when we see the stuff that's happening and them talking about stacking the Supreme Court and impeaching the Supreme Court justices, and they beat away our only really safety right now to stop this kind of gun grab. I don't see where else it could go. So are there other tactics and thoughts and ways to battle this insanity from the left?
I think there are. I mean, we still, like you said, so we still have the jury box that's still going on actively.
Yep.
Ballot box, it comes and goes. It just depends. I mean, because and I go into the book. I try really hard not to get partisan because my goal is like I'm trying to bring Democrats over to our side on gun ownership because the rank and file are not necessarily insane or evil, but their leadership universally is. But I get into that. I was like yes, there are elected pro-gun Democrats supposedly, but there's more evidence of Bigfoot as far as seeing them actually vote. I mean, actually, I would believe in Bigfoot before I believe in a pro-gun Democrat senator. So let's put it that way.
Hey, Charlie, can you put that picture of Bigfoot back up?
Right.
That you just had? Sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm definitely. If I had to vote on which one of these is more likely, I'm going Bigfoot. But so the ballot box is still a thing, and it's interesting because they're pushing so hard right now. But the biggest thing I think is us individuals taking this to our friends, taking this to our family, taking people to the range, taking the time to educate people, and we're actually culturally we are winning. If you look at 2020, was our year of fiery, mostly peaceful chaos. If you look at gun buying during that year, it went insane, and it wasn't us buying them. We got ours. We don't pay over MSRP. We don't stand in line,
right?
So this is new people.
It's a good point.
It's interesting. I was actually I was on another show earlier today, and we were talking, and the host brought up something that I had not thought of, and I wish I would have thought of it before writing this book. Well, I couldn't have because this has happened since I wrote the book. But he pointed out with Bruin, with the Supreme Court, there's been this massive wave since Bruin with every blue state going for the wackiest gun laws possible, and the ATF doing the craziest stuff possible. And like the ATF is doing new stuff every day that's just been crazier. I mean, the brace rule, and this new thing today about like the NFA weapons, you're only the guy on the form is allowed to touch them, Since it's crazy. And then Illinois, Maryland, Colorado, New York, they're all doing the wackiest laws they can. But what he pointed out was if you look back at the civil rights movement and you look back when the Supreme Court decided Brown versus Board of Education, that didn't just like cause equality overnight, right? There's this major Supreme Court decision, but in the immediate aftermath for the next 4 or 5 years, the Democrats went insane. They every state passed the craziest stuff you could think of. They threw tantrums. There were counties in Virginia that ended public school. They just stopped having public school rather than integrated school because of the Supreme Court decision. And he pointed out, he's like, if you think about these two things as not guns or civil rights, but think of them both as a battle for civil liberties against Democrats, it's the same process. We're doing the same thing over again. And so the freak out is actually kind of a good sign because Bruin kicked them in the teeth. Yeah. And so that's why I think that's why they're overreaching so hard.
Yeah, they're gonna kick him in the teeth again. I mean, it's coming, and they've said it's coming. Basically, the way that they the district court pulled up the 5 cases. They're going to hear them all at the same time. That right there is a good sign that they're, and if they shoot it down and when it gets to the Supreme Court, we've got a good chance that it's going to be the full court's going to side in our favor again.
I just hope Clarence Thomas is taking his vitamins and exercising.
Oh, right. Oh God, yes.
Right.
Hillary, he stays away from Hillary.
Yes.
Whew, that was out loud.
Oh, was it? Damn. Did it again.
Oh no, we met in case of COVID. You just keep your distance.
Right, exactly. He's still the guy he's the only guy we want to see masked.
Well, the president should wait. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. Right. This kind of mask.
Come on, man. The deer don't wear Kevlar.
Come on, man.
Deer don't. Oh my goodness. Or go out into the balcony and shoot into the night sky.
Okay,
they need to
all right.
take his SU degree away. They need to revoke his SU degree. That's terrible legal advice.
Okay, we're all firearms instructors here, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Can you imagine the whole, just all you need is a double barrel shotgun. Go out and fire 2 blasts in the air. Okay, well, I'm not even getting into the illegality of doing this, but
Right.
okay, I just emptied my 2-shot gun.
Right now I've got a stick. I tell people, I say, look,
baseball bat.
right. Don't take advice on self-defense from Joe Biden. Absolutely.
No, for sure not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that comment brings up a good point. There actually, I saw something today, and I haven't seen much details on this yet, but this was interesting to me. The ATF has overreached so hard over the last couple of weeks that even like the squishiest Republicans and some Democrats are coming together. There's a bipartisan bill brought up today by Dan Crenshaw, who's not like, a stalwart,
Right.
not the first guy I think of as a fire breathing stalwart, but
right,
I
he's
know.
not a capital R Republican.
no, but him and some Democrats actually are bringing up a bipartisan bill to rein in the ATF, where it was, if the ATF does a regulation change that's going to affect businesses, and obviously it does, and citizens, then those citizens and the businesses that are effective have the ability to protest, which we don't right now. It's just whatever the ATF feels like, and then we got to go to court for 4 years.
Right.
This would, and then it would be like a 90-day process where Congress would get a review and a say, and then it would go before an administrative law judge to even see if it's legal, and the offended parties would have a chance to present evidence. So it wouldn't just be this dictatorship. And that came from Dan Crenshaw and a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I might have to eat what I said about Bigfoot. If this actually happens, I mean, the Bigfoot is in the building.
Yeah. Yeah. I experienced that here in New York with some stuff where some of the bigger agencies within New York set their own edict on certain things. And when I called them on, I'm like, show me where it is in the law. Show me where it is in the law. And then I'll work with politicians to get the law changed. So they go, well, it's not in the law. It's our edict from our council. And I was like, huh? And this was years ago. And I was like, what? And I started, delving into like how that works. And, these agencies, even in state level, but we're talking about federal level, they have too much power where they can just unilaterally say whatever the hell they want, do whatever they want. And the only way to refute that is to put political pressure on them, or to get a bill or turned into law that actually overrules or changes or sets something in stone to go against or to finite what they're pushing forward. And it's such a crapshoot. It's crazy. It's scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about red flag laws. We all know these are bunk.
Oh, geez. Yeah, no, those are a mess. Okay. So red flag laws are extreme risk protection orders. They're very state by state, but they're all stupid. Basically the idea is, right now states have the ability to commit people who are actually dangerous to themselves and others. They can commit them, but states almost never do, because that's a messy process. Instead, they got this great idea that, oh my gosh, let's just, if somebody gets red flagged, if somebody says, hey, this guy over here, my friend, my neighbor, my cousin, he's dangerous, he has guns, he's going to use them to do bad things, and then the cops can just come in and swoop in and take the guns away, and then boom, we're going to be safe, right? It's asinine, and a bunch of states already have it, and everywhere that they do have it, it's already been abused. I collect a bunch of cases in the book because basically what we're doing is we're giving the worst people in the world the license to send a SWAT team to your house.
Right.
Think about the people who report all your posts on the internet to get you kicked off the internet. Imagine giving them the ability to just send a SWAT team to potentially kill you. I mean, and it's legal. We've got cases where ex-wives have put them on their husbands. We've had cases where stalkers have red flagged the person they're stalking. And the victim is getting disarmed, and then the stalker is like, hey, I'm safe. And we had my favorite case was one from Colorado, where a cop shot somebody in the line of duty. It was ruled a justifiable shooting. And then the mom of the guy who got shot put a red flag on the cop. She fabricated a fake relationship with this guy who she didn't even know in real life, and said that he was dangerous and was planning to do this. This is a cop. and they came and disarmed him, and he went through this process, and it got thrown out. But think about it. This guy had a union, all right, and he has, department lawyer. We don't. Regular people don't. And all it takes is one disgruntled person to do this to you. And then there's the other side of the coin, which really gets me. Let's say that the guy actually is dangerous. Let's say he is actually a disgruntled, disaffected loner who has violent tendencies. Okay. You swoop in, you take his guns. He's still free. He's not going to be any less disgruntled now that you've somebody reported him to the cops and the cop raided his house. He's not going to become happier and nicer. He's still free. He can still procure an illegal gun, like most criminals just steal one, or they buy one off whoever stole. I went through that in the book. That's statistically where the vast majority of guns come from used in crime. And then there's nothing to stop him from going to Home Depot and putting together a bomb. There's nothing to stop him from driving his car through a parade or down the sidewalk. If the guy is truly a danger to himself and others, then he should be committed and he should go through the correct process, not this red flag Band-Aid. But speaking of Dan Crenshaw was one of the Republican senators that voted for this crap to fund this for every state. And they're like, well, we didn't actually vote for red flags. We voted for red flag funding. Oh, okay. Because, states are real big on not doing what the feds bribe them to do.
Of course.
Right. Yeah, it's a ridiculous process. It's a ridiculous thing, and I think as they grow in number across the states, we're going to see more and more horrible abuses of them.
Yeah, I had a sheriff here that I sat down and had breakfast with a few, probably 3 years ago, I think it was, and and I asked him. I said, "Have you ever utilized ERPO red flag?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think one time." And it was a case where I guess a pizza delivery driver pulled up into this guy's parking lot or into his driveway, and the guy got stuck in the snow and he was trying to get out. And the owner of the house, a veteran, came out with a gun and basically threatened him and freaked out because he had some PTSD, and then went back into his house. The cops showed up. It was a standoff. They finally eventually were able to get him out and get him medical help. But then they said they had to go and do ERPO red flag to confiscate all his guns. I'm like, but you took him away and put him in the hospital for mental health help. So, I mean, you had his guns. You took his guns, right? He goes, yeah. I go, so did you really need ERPO red flag? I mean, you were there, the guns were there. You didn't want to leave the guns out for anybody to break in and steal. I mean, so it was, he's like, yeah, I guess we really didn't need to go about it that way. It was just really weird. Like, that's the one time in his 22 years as a sheriff, and now the sheriff of the county. It was interesting. But yeah, I mean, using it incorrectly is horrific.
Right. Yeah, we can both think of departments that will not hesitate to abuse this, and judges who won't hesitate to stamp off on every single one that come across their desk without hesitation.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's a thought. David put down here, people that get kicked off social media make fake accounts, come back to be able to harass people. And when he posted that, my first thought was, if somebody wants to get a pistol license, are they going to put their fake account down? Are they going to put down their fake Facebook account so that they can apply for a pistol license in New York? That was my first thought, right?
That's right. The good conduct Facebook thing. I would be so out of luck. I mean, I'm perpetually banned off the internet, so I would never be able to own a gun in New York.
Right. You just got in trouble just this week for reviewing Puss in Boots, right?
I did. I got kicked off the internet. I gave Puss in Boots a positive review, and I just said, hey, as a writer hat on. It was a kids movie, but it was actually really well written. It was really good, and I got banned. And it was like one day before the book came out, where most of my fans are who buy books or congregated there. They actually reversed it, which was funny. And then today I got banned for making fun of an Australian literary moron who thinks he's qualified. He rips apart all my books because the guy hates my guts. He's some academic snooty guy. So he thinks he's qualified to take apart my gun book. And I was like, I'll put my 30 years of learning about this topic against your 30 minutes on Google anytime. But I made fun of the guy. I made fun of his review. I just kind of mocked him. And I got kicked off Facebook for hate speech.
Oh, my gosh. Today.
That said, they reversed it in 20 minutes. So what I did is I went back, which is hilarious. So I went back and I edited my review of his review. And I changed all the words that might be offensive, but I made it bigger and like way more insulting.
Kudos to you.
This is what you get for being a writer, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, plus the fans love it. The fans enjoy that kind of stuff. But yeah, come on. I'm not going to listen to some snooty academic Australian try to tell me how gun laws work in America.
Right.
Everything they're saying is like this, high from atop Mount Dunning-Kruger telling me what they think there. Right. Yeah, nah.
Like, I got enough to keep up with the stuff going on in America. I don't have time to go and look at other countries and criticize them for what they got going on.
That said, I do go into their crime stats, and it's funny because they like to talk a lot of trash about how much safer that they are than America. Well, first, once you get over the way that they massage their stats and don't count stuff that we count, and Britain is really bad at that. But then, they have less murders, and they had less murders before too. They also don't have America's demographics or cities or anything like that. But then you get into their rape and assault rates. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. Australia needs guns. The women of Australia need handguns.
Jeez.
We just need to fly over and drop barrels of Liberator pistols like World War II.
That's good. Yeah.
Right.
Paper airplanes with subliminal messages.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I'm gonna sign off and hop onto the other show. And
all right. Well, before we get too far, I want you to see that I was at SHOT Show, and SHOT Show is bipartisan. Look at that. That's right. We saw the Jack's Link Sasquatch there.
Wow. See more. There was more Sasquatches there than there were Democrat congressmen.
Absolutely.
I think you're right.
Yeah. They did have some senators, but I'm pretty sure they were all Republicans, and they did. Dettelbach was there too.
Oh boy, I bet he was popular.
The head of the AFT. It was really funny. I went to. Sorry, Matt. You need to go because we have another show coming up in 4 minutes.
Yes, Larry. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to hanging out with you more in the future, and maybe seeing you at SHOT Show next year, if not sooner.
Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Stay safe.
Very cool. Thanks. Yeah. So, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Dettelbach was there. Yeah. So he had the ATF and the FBI had an hour and a half seminar, and I'm going to say like the first 4 minutes, Dettelbach came out, and I texted my buddy sitting next to me. I said, "This is the part of the speech that we call ass kissing." Because it was a lot of, hey, gun owners are good people, and they're the law-abiding folks. We don't really want to come down on you guys, but we're going to nail you guys for pistol braces and shooting your pistol brace on your shoulder and all the nonsense.
Yeah, that part when they originally were doing the original rules and we're doing the comment period, and they were like, not a felony, not a felony. Felony.
Right.
Oh, well, that's comforting.
Now they're telling you how to shoot your guns. Oh my God. I belong to a snub revolver group on Facebook, and somebody had a snub right up against their shoulder, and like, oh, look, that's a short-barreled rifle. It's only 2 inches long.
And the thing is, I had somebody on because when there's stuff comes up, I'm trying to explain how the actual laws work, and I'm reading this 293 pages of nonsense, and I'm trying to convey this to my fans on Facebook and Twitter. I'm trying to get them to actually understand, and I'm explaining how the law works, and I always get the chest beating guy who's like, I don't care what the ATF says, I want to do what I want. I was like, okay, A, I don't care. B, if you're going to do felonies, don't say it on my Facebook page, please. And right. C, you say that, but I really love my dog. And the last thing I want to do is, he's a good boy. I mean, I don't want to piss off the ATF. I love my dog. And so I'm really hoping that we can work. I'm hoping the courts, when that 120 days kicks in, because it's federal, I can't imagine with as many lawsuits as going forward that there's not some judges in America who are going to get these cases before them and throw the brakes on this. That's my hope. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's just maybe my natural optimism getting in the way of cold, hard reality, but I hope that's the case.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, listen, we only have a moment left. I want to say I appreciate getting a copy of the book. I'm really enjoying it. I've been reading. I'm a slow reader. There's no pictures, so I'm a slow reader. But I'm halfway through the book, and I absolutely love it. I wish I would have got it before I headed out to SHOT, but there's more time to read on the plane that way. How can people get the book? How can they find it? How can they follow you on all the social medias?
Sure. The book is available pretty much everywhere. Barnes & Noble, Amazon. We also have an audiobook. There is an audiobook. You can get that from audible.com. It's from Blackstone Publishing. The publisher's Regnery, so they're a very big publishing house. They're basically everywhere. Some gun stores are carrying it. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm Correia45 on Twitter. Really easy to find, or I am Larry Correia on Facebook. My blog is monsterhunternation.com. I will warn you in advance, though, that I am pretty offensive.
That's what I love about it.
well, you know, sometimes some people, even people in the gun culture, get a little squeamish. But I'm honest. We'll put it that way. I'm a very honest person.
Gotcha. Very cool, man. Well, listen, I really appreciate having you on the show and having you hop on. And any chance that this is going to make it to the the top of the charts?
Well, okay, so I can't really say numbers, but just off the pre-orders alone, it's a bestseller. So before this week even started, it was a bestseller. It's done extremely well. Right now, it's sitting up really high on Amazon. It's sitting up really high on Audible. We hit #1 in a whole bunch of genres. It should be a New York Times bestseller, but the New York Times hates guns and they hate me personally. So, yeah, most of my books are. I am a New York Times bestselling author, and I was every year until they learned who I was, and then I haven't made it since. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that sucks, but we know it's a great book, and we hope that everybody gets it. So please check it out on Amazon. Please follow Larry on all the social medias. Larry, thank you so much for being on the show, man. And this is a pleasure. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.
I had a great time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. For everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to tune into the next show, Matt and I are doing a SHOT Show wrap-up, and it is started 1 minute ago, and I will see you guys there. Thanks a lot.